A lot of folks keep asking me if the Mazda CX-5 is still worth picking up in 2025. With the redesign right around the corner for 2026, you gotta know what you're really getting before you sign the papers on this one. Hey guys, this is Scott from CarlandTV, and it's time to slide into the driver's seat, because today, we're gonna talk about the 2025 Mazda CX-5, and whether you should snag one now or just hang tight and wait for that 2026 redesign that's coming down the pipe. But first, do me a quick favor. Tap that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. It ain't required, but those clicks keep this thing rolling and make it easier for me to keep dropping solid car content straight to your screen. Now, let's get back into it. Price and trims in 2025. So let's start with what everyone wants to know first, the numbers. The 2025 Mazda CX-5 still comes in a wide spread of trims, and prices are running right around the mid-30s, depending on how you build it. You've got the base models like the 2.5 seconds, Select, and those usually land closer to $30,000. Step up to trims like the Preferred, Carbon Edition, or Premium, and you're creeping toward that 35 to 37 range. If you want all the bells and whistles with the 2.5 turbo signature, you're easily looking at 40 grand. Now, Mazda didn't cheap out on features even on the lower trims. Things like all-wheel drive come standard across the board, which is a big deal when you're comparing this against a CR-V or RAV4 that makes you pay extra. Even the entry-level CX-5 gets LED headlights, a decent-sized infotainment screen, and solid safety gear baked in. When you move up trims, you're adding stuff like leather, a premium Bose sound system, a power liftgate, and heated or ventilated seats. Here's how I explain it to folks on the lot. If you want the value play, the mid-level trims hit the sweet spot because you're getting a premium feel without the premium price tag. But if you're the type that keeps a car for a long time and wants that mini luxury SUV vibe, the turbo trims are where you'll smile the most. What's under the hood? Alright, let's pop the hood on the 2025 CX-5. Mazda keeps it simple here. You've got two flavors of the same 2.5-liter four-cylinder. The base engine gives you 187 horsepower and about 186 pound-feet of torque. It's hooked up to a 6-speed automatic. Nothing fancy, but it's proven, and all-wheel drive is standard across the lineup. That's a big deal, because a lot of the competition makes you pay extra for AWD. With the base motor, it's not a rocket, but it's enough to get you through your daily grind without guzzling fuel. Now, if you want something with a little more muscle, the turbo trims are where you look. On regular gas, you're looking at 227 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. Throw in premium fuel, and it bumps up to 256 horses and 320 pound-feet. That's when you really feel it pulling hard on the highway or merging into fast traffic. Folks who've driven both usually tell me the turbo feels like a whole different SUV. Towing capacity sits at 2,000 pounds, so you're good for a small trailer, a couple of dirt bikes, or a light boat. Not a heavy hauler, but it's enough for weekend toys. Fuel economy? The base motor gets you around 26 mpg in the city and 30 on the highway, which is solid for its class. The turbo drops it down closer to 22 inches the city and 27 on the highway, so you trade a little mileage for that extra punch. So, if you just need a steady daily driver, the base engine does the job. But if you like a little fun in your commute, the turbo's the one that puts a grin on your face. Ride and handling. Now this is where Mazda separates itself from the pack. I tell people all the time, if you actually enjoy driving, the CX-5 feels different from a CR-V or a RAV4. The steering's tight, it actually gives you some feedback, and when you throw it into a corner, it doesn't flop around like most crossovers do. Mazda tuned this thing to feel more like a car than a tall SUV, and you notice it the second you hit a curvy road. The suspension strikes a nice balance, too. It's firm enough that it feels planted, but not so stiff that you're bouncing around on potholes. Around town, it soaks things up fine, and on the highway, it's smooth and quiet. I've had folks test drive it back-to-back with a CR-V and come back surprised, because the Honda feels softer, almost floaty, while the Mazda just feels more controlled. Noise levels are better than before, too. Mazda's done a good job sealing the cabin up so you're not hearing a ton of road noise. The turbo models especially feel confident when you're passing or merging, and the steering stays sharp even at higher speeds. So if you're the type who wants driving to just be point A to B, a RAV4 or CR-V is fine. But if you want a crossover that doesn't forget the driver, this is where the CX-5 wins people over. Honestly, every time I toss someone the keys, they come back saying the same thing. Damn, this thing drives better than I thought. Interior and comfort. Step inside the CX-5, and this is usually the moment people raise their eyebrows. Mazda's been pushing this thing to feel more premium than its price tag, and honestly, they've pulled it off. Even on the lower trims, you're not staring at cheap, shiny plastics everywhere. The layout's clean, the buttons and knobs feel solid, and once you get into trims like the Carbon Edition or Premium, you're looking at leather seats, nicer stitching, and an overall vibe that feels more Lexus-light than budget crossover. The front seats are supportive and comfortable, and Mazda actually thought about long drives here. They've got good bolstering without squeezing you in too tight, and the padding holds up on road trips. Rear seats have enough room for adults, though I'll be straight, a CR-V still edges it out in pure legroom. If you've got tall teenagers or you're constantly running a full back row, you'll notice the Honda gives you a little more breathing space. Cargo space is solid but not class-leading. It'll handle groceries, strollers, or luggage for a long weekend, no problem. But again, a RAV4 or CR-V will swallow a little more gear. Still, for most families, it's plenty, and the power liftgate on higher trims is a nice touch. One thing I always point out to customers is how quiet it feels inside. Mazda tightened things up for highway cruising, so you don't have to crank the radio just to hear over road noise. It feels more upscale than you expect at this price point, and that's exactly why people cross-shop it against entry-level luxury SUVs. Tech and safety. When people climb inside, the first thing they ask me is, what's the tech like? The 2025 CX-5 comes with a 10.25-inch screen standard across every trim. It's not the biggest display in the game, but it looks clean, and it's easy to see. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are included, and yes, they work wirelessly now, so you're not fumbling with cords every drive. Some folks gripe about Mazda keeping the controller knob instead of going full touchscreen, but once you get used to it, it's straightforward. Audio setups depend on the trim you grab. The lower ones stick with a 6-speaker system, and it's fine for everyday use. Step into the higher trims, though, and you unlock the Bose premium sound system, and that's when you notice the difference. If you care about music sounding crisp, that upgrade is worth it. Now, safety is where Mazda doesn't cut corners. Every single CX-5 ships with iActiveSense safety tech. That means adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, and automatic emergency braking are all standard. You're not paying extra just to get the basics covered like some other brands. On upper trims, you can add features like a 360-degree camera, traffic sign recognition, and front and rear parking sensors, which make daily driving that much easier. So from where I sit, Mazda's giving you plenty of standard safety gear right out of the box, with enough upgrades to keep tech-hungry buyers happy. It's not over the top, but it's solid and it works. Reliability, fuel economy, and resale. One question I hear all the time is, how's this thing gonna hold up after 5-6 years? The good news with the CX-5 is that Mazda's been using this 2.5-liter setup for years, and it's proven to be solid. You're not looking at some brand new experimental engine. It's been on the road long enough that mechanics know it, and parts are easy to come by. That's a big deal if you're planning on keeping it for the long haul. Fuel economy depends on which motor you pick. The standard 2.5 without the turbo gets you about 26 inches the city and 30 on the highway. That puts it right in line with the class. Maybe a tick under the RAV4 hybrid, but better than some turbo rivals that drink gas when you get on them. The Turbo CX-5, like I said before, trades efficiency for muscle. You're looking at closer to 22 inches the city and 27 on the highway, so you've got to decide if that extra power's worth the extra fuel stops. Resale is where Mazda's been climbing. A few years back, they didn't hold value as well as Honda or Toyota, but that's changed. The CX-5 has built a reputation for reliability, and used buyers are catching on. I've seen clean ones come back on trade and pull way better numbers than folks expected. It won't top a CR-V in resale, but it's not far behind, and it sure beats a lot of Korean or domestic rivals. Buy now or wait? So here's the real question everyone's been asking me. Should you grab a CX, 5 inches 2025, or wait for the 2026 redesign? I'll shoot straight with you. The 2025 CX-5 is still one of the best driving SUVs in its class. The steering's sharp, the ride feels more planted than a CR-V or RAV4, and the cabin's a cut above most mainstream crossovers. If you want something that feels a little more premium without jumping into luxury pricing, this Mazda nails it. That said, we all know the 2026 model is right around the corner. Mazda's already teased bigger screens, more space in the back, and a new design that looks bolder. The big kicker, though, is the powertrain. For 2026, Mazda's sticking with the same 2.5-liter gas engine at launch. The hybrid powertrain that buyers are really waiting for isn't coming until 2027. So if you're holding off just for efficiency, you'll be waiting longer than you think. Here's how I'd call it. If you need a new ride this year, the 2025 CX-5 is still worth buying. You're getting a proven engine, standard all-wheel drive, strong safety tech, and resale that's better now than it used to be. You're not buying into some outdated throwaway model. On the flip side, if you've got time and you want the freshest styling with a little more interior room, then waiting for the 2026 update makes sense. But between the three options, buy now, wait a year, or hold out for 2027, I'd say don't overthink it. The 2025 CX-5 is a smart buy today, especially if driving, feel, and quality matter to you.